Hi SQL folks, welcome to another tutorial from SQL Maestros. The other day I recorded a tutorial showing how you can check the CPU utilization of the SQL Server engine. That video is available in our YouTube channel or it is available in the free video lobby on sqlmaestros.com. The whole idea of this tutorial, that video, was to go back in time, go back in history and check what the CPU utilization, the load factor had been for the SQL Server process. Now, this really helps when you are facing general slowness. You are doing real-time monitoring, which is all good, but there's always a need to go back in time and look at various metrics. I got a lot of good feedback about that video, but then some questions too. So people asked that the way I was checking the CPU utilization history, can we also check the memory utilization in a similar fashion? May not be exactly the same way, but are there tools, are there native facilities available in SQL Server that can give you memory utilization about the history, which is you can go back in time and check how much memory was consumed, the target, the committed, so on and so forth. So the good news is, yes, that is possible. The answer is yes. So in this video, I will show you how that is possible. There are certain tools and techniques that are available. In fact, there's just not one way. There could be more than one ways, but in this video, I will focus on one technique and maybe record another video for, other techniques. So what you probably know about SQL Server, there is a very powerful tool available, which is extended events. So let's jump over to extended events first. We are in Object Explorer here, and let's expand management. Under management, let's expand extended events, and extended events will have a few sessions by default. Let's expand them. And what you will observe that, and you might have seen before, is when you install SQL Server, and I can remember last few versions of SQL Server, maybe 22, 19, 16, 17, 14, they will always have a default session, which is system health. This is installed by default, which means when you do a vanilla installation of SQL Server, this is set up by default and is running. And it's capturing a lot of stuff. It's capturing wait stats. It's capturing call stack of threads that are facing IO issues or severity errors. It's capturing deadlocks by default, etc. You can check the online documentation to see all the different items that it is capturing by default. This is also capturing the output of a system stored procedure called SP Server Diagnostics. So we are talking about two tools here, the system health session of extended events and the SP Server Diagnostics. So let's expand system health. So friends, this tutorial is not about SP Server Diagnostic or extended events. If you are new to these tools, you may want to research a little more. We have a lot of videos and content around these, but let's just go and look for the information we want to kind of find out. Okay, so if you expand system health, you can see that the event capture is the events that are getting captured are written to a event file, that's target 1, and it's also being written, the most recent events are going to ring buffer. So there are two destinations here. What I will do is right click on event file and view target data. When you look at the target data, let's sort on timestamp. So I will click on timestamp, and the default view is something like this. So just let me remove this column because before the demo I just kind of customized this, so I don't really want you to feel okay why you're not getting the same view as I show you here. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the name of the event and the timestamp. Now let's just sort this once more. What you can see is on the clock here, while I do this recording today, the time here shows as 1:17 p.m. Okay, and you can see the most recent event here that is getting captured is very close to 117. So right now we have 1:15, as you can see. Now, out of a lot of events that are being recorded here, you're looking into this event file, you will observe the output of SP Server Diagnostics. So you can see SP Server Diagnostics component result, component result. These are entries being made here, are getting recorded. Now, when you look at each of this result, the SP server diagnostic component result output, you can see which component information is getting recorded. So look at the details section here. You have something for IO subsystem. Let's move to the next one. The next one is about query processing. The next one is about resource. And then there is another one about system. So I can see 4 components at least here that are getting recorded. We are going to focus on resource. This one has the data which is in XML format here, and we are going to go and look into this. So it tells me, okay, resource component information is getting recorded. The state says clean, which means things are just fine. But then you have to go deeper into the XML data to figure out what was the memory utilization. Now, while I look at this extended events user interface, it's not very intuitive. I mean, so to say, I'm kind of fiddling around with all of these. So I'll show you how you can customize this user interface so that you can really pinpoint on what you're looking at. First things first, I will right click on component and show this column in the table, in the view here. So you get the component on the right side, and then I will, that's enough just to view this info. And now I'm going to group, right? Because you can see right now I'm getting about 4,000 events out here. So there are a lot of events to scroll down. We have sorted on timestamp, which is good, but grouping will help you further and just make the output a little more interactive. So let's go to grouping, and I'm going to group on name, and then under name, I'm going to group on component. Let's do this. Now let's expand the view a bit. So what you can see is that all the events are now categorized, right? They have been grouped, and we are going to go into resource. This is what you get. And now let's click on timestamp once more and sort this. Just wait for a second before okay, so we can see that all of the output here, component result, is now sorted based on time. So you have the most recent ones showing on top. And you can see that this is getting recorded every 5 minutes. This output gets recorded every 5 minutes. So you can see 1:13 p.m., then 1:08 p.m., and then 1:03 p.m., so on and so forth, right? So the interval here is 5 minutes. Now, let's pick up the data for the most recent one. So this is the most recent one, component result for resource. Here is the data item. Let's double click on this. So this is the data that is being sent from the stored procedure. The stored procedure output is being recorded here. And there's a lot of data here to explain you, but I'll just focus on what we are looking for. I'm looking at the target committed and the current committed. These are the values that I'm looking at. So let's zoom in a bit here. Okay, this is very similar to your total server memory, target server memory, etc. Now, unit here is kilobytes. So you can see this is the output of memory manager, and we can see target committed. Okay, so this is in kilobytes. So let's remove 3 digits from here, third digit, so, and 3 more. Okay, which means target committed is about 8 GB, right? That's about 8 GB approximately. And current committed is, let's remove 3 digits from here, 1, 2, 3. And then we can't remove another 1, 2, 3 because then this will be less than a GB. So this is just closer to a GB, about 800 MB or so. This is the current utilization. Right now, the SQL Server process is not even utilizing this much memory, not even 1 GB, and it can go up to 8 GB, right? That's what is meant by your current commitment versus target commitment, okay? So SQL Server is sitting very nicely at 1 GB approximately, and it can go up to 8 GB. Everything is all good. All right, so you have understood this one. So let's keep it here. So I'm just going to keep the numbers as it is. You have understood this is 8 GB and this is about less than 8 GB. Let's keep this here. Let's close this now. Now let's create a scenario where we will pressurized SQL Server and we'll run some workloads that will consume a lot of memory. And let's see if these numbers change, because what you want to do is go back into history, right? Go back in time and figure out what the memory utilization was. So I am jumping over to our masterclass recording content. Okay, this was the masterclass that was delivered some time back, 40 hours of deep dive content around SQL Server performance tuning. The recordings are now available on sqlmaestros.com. HD recordings, 40 hours of very exhaustive content. These are the modules in front of you, what you see on the screen. If you subscribe to this content, you get lifetime access, which is watch anytime, anywhere, as many times as you want. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just to pressurize SQL Server, I am going to pick up a few code snippets from our masterclass content. Let's do that. So first things first, I am going to go into SQL Server memory internals and troubleshooting. I'll go over to memory overview, and then let's open this memory overview. I'm just going to run one simple code here just to show you what is the current memory utilization. Okay, now let's check the server memory right now. Let's click on execute, and what you will see, as expected, SQL Server memory utilization right now is just about less than 8 GB. So you can see this here. We are using the dynamic management view dim OS process memory, and there's so many scripts available to find out all this info. But anyway, just trying to corroborate, yeah, current SQL Server memory utilization is just less than 8 GB. Now I also want to find out what is the max memory setting. So instead of running around scripts, I can just simply go to properties. This is a virtual machine. I'm sure I've set something. So let's just jump over to memory. Yes, I've set the max memory to 10,000 megabytes. All right. Now I really don't want to run workloads that will pressurize SQL Server and consume about 10 GB worth memory. That will be pretty bad for my VM. So what I should do is let's jump over to another file here from the masterclass content. Let's just change the max memory to 2000 MB. You know that current utilization is less than 1000 MB. I'm just doubling it up, changing it to 2000. This is only for the purpose of demo, friends. Don't try to do all of this stuff in your, live boxes and whatnot. I'm sure you won't, but just calling this out that, yeah, you have your trial machines where you are playing around. You can do all of that stuff there. Like for example, I do all of this on my VM, and then I can reset the VM and bring things back to original. So I am going to just change it to 2000 now. Okay, max memory change from 10,000 to 2000, as you can see, and I've done reconfiguration as well. All good. Now this is going to remain same, of course, something similar. Okay, 930 MB, we are all good. Now let's run some workloads. So to run the workload, I will again go back to the masterclass content, jump over to module 1. I must have something here. Some of the weight types will have, okay, let's go to resource semaphore. This should have a script where I can do something like this. Okay, so I am going to run a workload here. Let's say add 6 users, whatever that workload is. When I double click on this, it's going to run some workloads that will utilize a lot of memory. Okay, right now the time is 1:26 on the clock. And just to show this to you again, 930 MB is the utilization. I want to tell you in advance, because this is going to happen in quick succession. The moment I launch this workload, we will go and check the memory utilization, and you will see that it will immediately eat up all the physical memory that is available. In fact, this workload needs more than, this workload actually needs more than 3 GB of physical memory, but we have already capped SQL Server process with 2000 MB. So it's just going to get stuck up there, right? Let's do that. We run this, about 6 instances of this workload, jump over to here. Let's go and execute this. 1476, 1618. You can see the memory utilization is constantly increasing. Let's see if it goes even further than that. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, we are stuck up. So maybe I can change something in the workload, or it's not required. Even if it does not take more than 2 GB, that's fine. Now we can see from 2000 MB, we have about 1600 MB being consumed here, as you can see. And if you were with me here right now, you will see the CPU fans burning really high, making a lot of noises because resource utilization is going very high, both in terms of CPU as well as in terms of memory. Okay, we don't really need to stress SQL Server so much that it touches 2000 MB. Okay, so what we can do is right click and close these workloads. Okay, now you are in a scenario where the real-time monitoring window is gone. The workloads came, they executed, they consumed a lot of memory, and now they are done. The execution is completed, they are done, they are gone. What you want to do now is go back in time and look at memory utilization, because now real-time monitoring will tell you that, okay, SQL Server exe is consuming this much memory. So this is the current memory that is residing, the available, the SQL Server physical memory right now, which is with SQL Server. But what was the difference between total and what was the difference between target and current utilization? This is what you want to find out. You want to go back into history and find this out. So the clock says 128. Remember, why am I looking at the clock each time? Because I want to look into that 5-minute interval. Okay, so what I will do is just refresh this once. Let's hope that this gets written, or then we will wait for some time. And let's go to package event file and view target data. If you see the target data now here, let's go and look into, let's sort on timestamp. There you go. So we have something getting written in 1328. So let's see if 1328 was, I don't know, because when we ran, was it the 28th minute or the 29th minute? We will figure that out. So we are going to go to resource, SQL Server diagnostic component result. We are tracking resource. We have the data here. Let's double click this and let's scroll down to memory manager. And are we getting our number? Yes, we are here. So this gets captured because the timing was good. We were able to, we ran the workload. In other words, this capture was done after we ran the workloads. Okay, so what you can see, the numbers here. So look at this. We have the current committed value, which is about 1.6 GB, as you can see, and the target committed was about 2 GB, right? The numbers are pretty good lined up. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, about 2 GB. And what was being utilized was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this means 1.6 GB approximately. This is what you see in the DMV output as well. Okay, so we have this here. 2 GB versus 1.6 GB, and you can see, and if we ran another few instances of the same workload, this would probably hit the ceiling. So you would see that current committed is the same, almost the same as target committed, which means SQL Server is low on memory. I mean, it's like 100% consumption that way. Just compare this number back again with what you have probably put up here. Did we close that? No. Okay. Comparison again, which was about 844 MB versus 8 GB. And now what you see here again is 1.6 GB versus 2 GB. So yes, friends, the answer is yes, you can go back in history, you can go back in time and look at resource utilization using certain native tools like extended events, ring buffers, and the SP server diagnostic output. All right, friends, hope you enjoyed this video. 2 action items for you, rather 3. First one, do look at the masterclass content. It's really valuable. It's worth your money because you get lifetime access to this exhaustive content. And I also want to make a point that you don't really need to buy a lot of courses. You don't need to buy basics, intermediate, fundamentals, advanced, mastering and expert level, etc. There are vendors that are trying to sell you so many different things because they think, oh, SQL Server performance tuning is a huge subject and you need dozens of courses. Not really. This is the one that you should go for because it covers the length and breadth, most important topics from the real world that you can apply to production right away. So things that make sense, things that you want to learn. 40 hours of deep dive content, all HD recordings, and the best part, you get lifetime access. That's action item number 1. Action item number 2 is do share this video with your friends and colleagues if you have liked the content, and we'll continue to come up with more content. Third thing, give us a comment, right, on this video. Put up a comment as to, did this really help you? What are the other kind of videos you would want me to record? What are the other kind of content you're looking for? And hopefully I will read those comments and respond and probably take action. Hope this was worth your time. Happy SQL. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon so that you're notified on new videos. Most importantly, visit SQLmaestros.com. There's a lot of SQL learning resources out there. Video courses, master classes, lab kits, ebooks, blogs, hands-on labs, and a lot more. Follow us on Twitter @SQLmaestros and myself _Bansal. Last but not the least, do subscribe to our newsletters. See you soon in another video. Goodbye.